Hey all, Cohen here. I've wanted to make a video for a while, and I've been saying I wanted to, and I haven't. But there are reasons for that. First and foremost, phalloplasty is not fun. It's not something that you choose to do. Like nobody would choose to do this. This is something that I need to do, and like this is my personal experience and what I'm going through. And to be honest, it sucks. Um, I don't know how to feel about things. I have other things going on in my life that I can't focus on, things that I cannot do, things that are like being put on hold, and all that other kind of stuff. And it's really frustrating. And along with having mental health issues, it's not at all fun. Um, you guys have been updated from my stage one, how that went, and in stage one, my urethra ended up healing itself closed, so I did not have a lengthened urethra in my phallus. So for stage two, I had gone in and I told you guys what was going to be done. I wanted to draw a picture, but I'm not like mentally, I'm done. I am so just like mentally fried. I'm not happy. I'm not in good moods. Not I'm not dealing with a lot of things very well right now. This week, this Friday will be my 3 weeks post-op, and it's not been fun. I'm not happy. I can't. I don't know any other way to explain it. I'm just I am not content. I am not happy. It's not to do with my surgeon or anything. Not anything that I regret. It's a matter of what's going on post-op now, which is really frustrating because post-op stage one, I had things that healed closed, like my urethra, but I had a fistula, and so yeah, that was annoying. I also had to deal with I had an infection that was, I call it the Christmas disaster. It was literally I ended up with two blisters underneath the underside of my phallus, and those, I guess there was somehow hair got trapped inside under my skin, and I guess it just kept growing inside instead of making its way out. And I don't know how long that was going on for, so they were I'd say the size of a pea, the blisters that I had, and literally they showed up within a day and then they exploded. So literally this happened to me on Christmas, and I had to go on antibiotics, and my penis was really swollen and stuff like that. And honestly, even talking about it now really upsets me because why? Why can't I just have one complication? Or why is everybody else who's talking about it at least being able to pee? Or you know what, I literally would give anything to only have to worry about the girth thing. Honestly, I would give anything for that to be my only issue. Because the way that second stage went, which I completely understood, I knew it was going to happen. I'm not I look very in depth to everything, so this is also why it bothers me so much, because I've spent so much time planning this, and I started off and it really gets my goat too, because there's all these people out there that are saying oh, I've been waiting 10 years for this, and it's you haven't even been out as trans for 10 years. You haven't been you know what I mean, you haven't even been you didn't even identify yourself as trans 10 to 15 years ago. And it's a matter of I've been planning this for quite a while. From day one that I came out as trans, did I know that I wanted to have the specific surgery to have a penis? No, I did not know that. I did not know what was available to me. Um, so now things are a lot more accessible, and it just seems it's it's easier to do things now, but it's a matter of you literally have to do everything for yourself if you leave the country. if you do not get your surgery within Canada, you are literally doing everything for yourself, and it's such a crock of shit. It's such a crock of shit. There's like honestly, like I went through. I've said before, I went to Montreal, and they made me feel like good at my consult and stuff. And as time went by, like I have literally no trust in them. I would not recommend them for bottom surgery whatsoever. Um, just because of how they treated me, the hoops they made me jump through, and other things. I know I'm backtracking, but like this will be like where I'm getting to like my point about how I'm feeling. So it just kind of pisses me off that like I've jumped through all these hoops, and I have my own goddamn story, and like I've done so much shit for other people, and like I don't expect anything back, but like in your head you're just kind of like, what the fuck did I do? Honestly, what the fuck did I do that I had to put up with, that I have to put up with this shit? That I have to have people bothering me, that I have to deal with extra stuff, that I had like my first stage I had to go in for a mini surgery like like a day and a half before I left the country. Like it's, that's, so I had two surgeries within my first stage, like when I first went. And then I went for this one, and for this one, if you remember, when I finished stage one, I had a fistula, but I also had a like 1 inch hole underneath on the base of my phallus, and that closed up like perfectly. Like it closed up so well that I was so happy with it. And like you go into surgery for stage two, like, and I know this, these are all things I know, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you emotionally. But like you go into surgery one way and you come out another way. And when I went to go in for surgery for stage two, like I was at a point where I was happy with my phallus and how it looked and stuff. And so like obviously I know there's going to be a change because stage two is Glansplasty, so that's supposed to help make it look better and stuff. But my stage two was also like more in depth, where like they actually like checked to see if I even had a urethra in the center of my penis, which I don't. I did not. So they also, and then they did the Glansplasty, and what they had to do so that they can make me a urethra is that they did liposuction as well. So there's two holes at the tip of my penis where they went in and did liposuction, and underneath my phallus. So like, I don't know, say this is my phallus right here. So picture directly in the center of my finger, if you made like an incision 1/3 of the thickness. So like imagine a line that goes from here, from this bend here, all the way to pretty much the tip. Um, there was about like a third of the like, I'll say girth, but like it went in like almost a third of the way, and then there was skin grafts taken off of my hips, my pelvic hip area, and that was laid in the area that was cut open. Um, it makes kind of like a divot or a ditch, so then after the lipo and swelling and stuff goes down, and in stage three what they will be doing is taking the two sides that were cut, like so here you're gonna have two open sides, right, obviously again. That's one thing where like I was kind of upset about the fistula part of it, because I had healed the big hole at the bottom of my penis really, really well, and to make the fistula, or to make my urethra, what they did was they made my fistula that I originally had bigger, and they like cut through the same thickness that they did up into my phallus. So like that, it's like pretty much that whole area is like an open like divot now that leads down into my scrotum. Holy fuck, I'm sorry. Um, and the first week I felt really good. I felt fine. Everything looked good. When I was leaving to go home, everything looked good. I got stitches taken out. And then I got home, and I guess like from the stress of everything, being at home, my surgeons in San Francisco If Toronto Women's College could get their act together and get a surgeon for trans male patients for bottom surgery, it would be a lot better for a lot of us in Canada. Like, you have no idea. There's like two bottom surgeons, and one works in BC, and like, you can't go there unless you're like a resident of BC because it's with their healthcare. So, like, at the end of the day, I'm traveling like across the country into another country and going for all this stuff and then having to come back, and the money, the traveling, all that other kind of stuff really just like gets to be a lot. So like, I don't know if this is just like my shit dumb luck or like stress from traveling or whatever it may be, but like, I don't know, the underneath of my phallus where they're creating my urethra, like, I think that part looks okay, but like the incision for the glands, like the actual like ridge of the glands looks good, but like the skin that's like in the incision that's going to be healing down, it's just like, I don't know, it's not looking great. It was looking good before, and now there are areas where it's like, looks like it's not healing. I had to be put on antibiotics, and another thing that I will say as well, back to the like, you have to do everything yourself. Like, my surgeon's awesome. He'll do anything that I ask within like no time flat, but being in Canada, like, if I need antibiotics, like, doctor's offices close. Sometimes you don't have the option to go to another doctor. All I needed was an antibiotic, and I had to literally like call my pharmacy, ask them a question, have them tell me an answer, and then get my doctor to just like get my surgeon to just fax over my prescriptions so that, or like call. He called and explained exactly everything, and then when I called back to ask about it, they said that they hadn't checked their messages. Then they checked their messages, and then they told me that they're not allowed to do that because my surgeon's in the US. So therefore, the person who is taking care of my current health issues and healthcare worries, yes, they are in the States, but I am in contact with them like whenever I need to be. And like, I couldn't like, I was told that it's not valid for a doctor from the States to send a prescription. Like, that's not valid. So I would need my doctor or a doctor that's Canadian to sign off on it. So then I had to like play phone tag with my doctor's office, which is closed, but they have somebody that works the front desk. So they had to try to page somebody so that they could contact me, so that I could tell them what was going on, so that they could contact the the pharmacy and tell them that yes, like, I need this, like, do it type thing. So like, that literally took 24 hours for me to have to do. And so like, I'm just getting really upset and really pissed off because it's so difficult. It is so freaking difficult, and I can't even explain to you guys. Like, I've not been having a good time. I've not been doing well mentally. I've not, like, it's one of those things where, like, I don't want to wake up in the morning some days, and it's not just because of the surgery or whatever, but, like, it's one of those things where, like, I'm just sick and tired of it, and I've been trying for so long. And yes, I am getting irritated watching people who have spent little to no time just go get whatever surgeries they want and then have it happen just so perfectly. Um, that upsets me. Like, I paid for a lot of my surgery stuff. I didn't I my top surgery wasn't covered. Like, there are a lot of people like me out there who have been trying to do this for so long, and then we get there and it's just like, it's not fair. It's not frickin' fair, and it makes me so angry because like, the rest of the world, if you look at like the UK, Europe, like uh the US, even like Thailand, Mexico, places like that, like, they have a lot of surgeons. Like, not every one of them is perfect or whatever, but like, they have a lot of surgeons that do FTM bottom surgery, making a phallus from step A to step Z. They do it. And like, I literally live 40 minutes from Toronto Women's College, which is offering every surgery possible except for full phalloplasty metoidioplasty. Okay? I don't think that's fair. And in Canada, there's this big thing where, like, our surgery is hard. It is hard to find somebody. It's not nowhere near perfected. We get, those of us that get it because we seriously need it. And at the end of the day, it's nobody's decision, nobody's business. Like, I'm going to be blunt, okay? It's not even my wife's decision. It's nothing. Like, my wife is lovely. I love my wife. Of course I do. But when it comes to my transition and my body and stuff, no one's opinion matters except for mine. And that's the exact same thing I want to put out there to everybody else. When you go through transition and you have surgeries, what anyone else thinks about what you are going to do does not matter. If you are planning on doing something that is safe and something that you need to do and it's your process that you need to go through, not one other opinion matters except for your own. So don't forget that. Like, I know that I'm probably coming off rude or whatever, but like, I'm just getting upset. Like, I'm being honest with you. I've helped so many other people get to points in life that they feel happy about and stuff, and I'm not asking for anybody else to do that for me, but I'm asking for you guys to be understanding. Like, I had a couple people that I talked to about phalloplasty stuff that kind of stopped talking to me or like unfollowed me after my last video because in my last video, one of my last videos, I said that my complications were complications that sometimes you don't know about and sometimes things that people don't talk about, and they're not like, they're small, they can occur quite often, but people don't talk about them. Or like, you know, I had said, like I said before, the girth thing. You know what? I'd be far more happier because then at least I wouldn't be dealing with infection and possibility of things like dying or whatever it may be. It's like, yeah, I am frustrated. I am pissed off. And if you can't take that, especially being somebody who's gone through it yourself, then like why? I don't get it. Like, I've literally sat there and been there for a lot of people. I've, like, you know, I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting upset. I'm tired of asking the questions that nobody should really, like, there should be answers for them. Let's be real. There should be answers for them. Why don't we have more bottom surgeons for trans male people in Canada? Why? Why are trans male things not talked about more often except for when they come up in the media? It's like, let's try, probably like 5, 6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, Vice did a documentary on trans masculine top surgery. And I know that, like, I know the person who was in the documentary and stuff, but I also knew people that worked for Vice. And I was kind of just like pissed off and kind of like a slap in the face at the fact that like they didn't even bother to talk to somebody who actually had to pay for their surgery, or they didn't talk to people who were experiencing these things prior. They were only talking to people that were moving towards experiencing those things. And like, yeah, ooh, big media moment because you get to have that like reveal and stuff, right? Because, oh, we followed their surgery. But at the end of the day, like, I think that's, like, you guys are going about it wrong, okay? The information you should be collecting should be information so that there are more resources for people like us. And yes, it's for the rest of the world to understand, but at the end of the day, if you're going to make documentaries about us, or if you're going to try to talk about our healthcare or what's missing or whatever, like, you got to reach beyond where you're going, because at the end of the day, like, it's pitiful. It is when you look into trans healthcare, and I'm not trying to be rude in any way, but like, if you try to look into trans bottom surgery, there are so many surgeons that do M to F, and there are so many places that deal with M to F patients. But when you look down the line, yeah, they might do top surgery for trans men or non-binary people or a hysterectomy or something like that. However, like, the biggest surgery, they're not even really worried about. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade or nothing, but I started talking to Toronto Women's College a few years ago when they first announced that they were going to bring out, like, I'm going to say that's at least 5 years ago, so let's be real with that right now. But 5 years ago, they already had people lined up for, like, hystos, top surgeons for both, and they already had Marcy Bowers coming to train for the M to F surgeries. And they had no one. They lined up nobody for us for our bottom surgeries. And I contacted them a few years later, and they still said, we're not even looking at that. And then I called them like a year ago just to see because I knew other people were looking. They still, like less than a year ago, had nothing, had no clue, they weren't even looking into it. So like at the end of the day, I'm getting really upset for myself and for other people that have to go through all these hoops and have to go through all this like mental frustration and turmoil to try to get what we want and need, but then not be able to fully get what we want, need, and deserve. Like, it's just so frustrating. Like, I know this video is more of a rant video than like an update because like I'm worn out. Like, I'm frustrated watching so many things. Like, I don't even want to be online. People are just too much with COVID, with the friggin' truck convoy. All that other kind of stuff is just driving me nuts. And everybody has, like, all these friggin', like, GoFundMe, fans only, and, like millions of platforms out there. And tons of people have, like, multiples of these platforms. And like, good for you. Like, get some money for yourself because it is expensive. But at the end of the day, like, I think it's really dirt when you have multiple ways of trying to make money off of our community online so that you can have a procedure done for yourself. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for help, but I don't think that anybody should have to pay your bills or pay your rent or pay for your surgery right out, like, you know. I think that at the end of the day, you do you, but, like, come on. There are so many people out there who don't have any form of funding. There are so many people out there who don't have any way of getting word out to try to even fundraise for themselves. And the main thing that I notice is it's the more popular and attractive trans persons, trans mask people that get all this attention and get all this like, oh, you know, like here for you, like da 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 da. And it's very disheartening. It's the same thing when you look at stuff and people are always posting the same type of person. I'm not big and strong and beefy and all this kind of stuff. So, like, when I'm in group chats or when I'm on pages where, like, that's all it is, like, I'm not on pages where that's all they're for because clearly it doesn't interest me. But if I end up, like, on a page and that seems to be the common trend, but it's supposed to be a page for everybody, it's like, you know, where do you draw the line? Where in our community do we draw the line where we say, like, you know, there's too many people trying to say that this is what we are, but then like there's also, it's like being trans isn't a business, guys. Being trans is not a business. Being trans does not make you famous, okay? Like, being trans doesn't even make you special, okay? Like, I'm not trying to piss on anybody's parade. I'm not trying to be rude, but at the end of the day, like, this whole, like, I'm different because I'm this. We're all different, and we're all the same. And I'm so tired of the, like, extended reach to prove that you're so much different than everybody else, or that you're so much better, or that trans people do it better, or, like, trans for trans relationships are better than, like, another type of relationship. This whole thing, like, our main goal is about equality, is it not? Is it not? That's what I'm asking. And yeah, it's funny to say like trans guys do it better and like lesbians do it better. Like everybody does it, but at the end of the day, like this whole thing where we're presenting ourselves as being like we're more special, we're more in tune, we're whatever. We're people. Our labels do not make us who we are. Our labels do not make us famous. Our labels do not give us the right to think that we are better than other people. And, like, I don't know what it is, but the community is becoming so saturated with, like, it happened with Chase Ross, too. Like, everybody jumped on that guy's bandwagon and was, like, paying his bills, paying for everything. Like, this kid literally had to pay for, like, nothing because other people were paying his bills because he was charging them money for information about transitioning. Let's be real about that. And that stuff is continuing to happen, but it's happening at a higher rate. And, like, it just makes me want to vomit. Because I, as a person, Like, I could make you guys pay for these videos. Should I? No. No, I should not. Because, like, I'm sitting here thinking about how terrible I feel about myself and thinking about how terrible I feel about my own body and going through this process and being so alone with it. And how fucking dare me, I'll say me, how fucking dare me if I ever charge somebody to give them my opinion of something that I've gone through. Being somebody who didn't have a lot of people to ask questions to, being someone who didn't know anybody who is trans besides watching somebody on like YouTube. And like, I'm somebody where like Facebook didn't come out until I finished college. So like, I'm not one of these like tech savvy people either, but I'm here and I'm sharing my story. And the only way that I would ask for money for anything that I have to give is if I was going to show pictures of my phallus and all the like post-op pictures. If I was comfortable, yes, I would ask for money for those because those are pictures of my personal body. And those are very intimate, and I do not like how people respond when it comes to trans male bottom surgery. People are very rude, people are mean, people, so, and people also will take screenshots of your pictures. And at the end of the day, I don't know that I could legally fight somebody and be like, that's my picture, like, you can't use it, like, whatever. Like, I don't want to see my stuff making its way around the internet without my say-so. And I don't trust anybody enough to do that, to be perfectly honest. And I don't need somebody telling me something when I'm the one who's gone through the experience. The biggest pain in the butt is having people who haven't gone through something yet come at you and tell you what's what. Or even people that have, because I have people that come at me and tell me, you should have done this, you should have done that. I had somebody tell me I should have went and had surgery in Montreal after they told me that they wouldn't do the surgery that I wanted and that I should have just done what Montreal said and went with using my arms, which, fuck you very much. This, you can't see it really, but like, this is my dog. My best friend of 16 years that died this past year. Okay? Fuck you. These are tattoos. They are things that mean something to me. Do I want a tattoo on my penis? No, that is my personal preference. Do not tell me that I should have just done something because that's what you did. Don't come at me and tell me that I didn't do enough electrolysis or that I spent too much money because you don't know. I'm a hairy motherfucker. Leave me alone. Like, I did what I was supposed to do. I did things properly. I'm getting really, really, really upset at people who like to come at other people because you think you know better. Like, I am so sick of it. I will come to somebody, regardless of their age, if I have a question for them and if I need an answer. And I have gone to many people that I know that are younger than me to get specific information. Does it always feel great to have to go to somebody who's a little bit younger than you? No, because you feel stupid. Okay? But you know what? People like me do that. We will ask. And one thing that I've noticed is that, no offense to you guys, but the younger ones, you guys snap back. Like, you snap at people, and it's not okay. Like, you have these opinions of what you think somebody else should do. Like, a lot of you guys, girls, people, folks, whatever term you use, a lot of you haven't even been transitioning or out or done any research into the things that you're coming at us older trans folks for. And, like, it's not okay. It's not cool. Like, we act like we are supposed to be this big loving community that is better than the community that kicked us out or doesn't want us. But at the end of the day, like, we're just as bad. Do you know that? Like, it's not, like, every community has the same thing. It doesn't matter who you are. We're not special. There's obviously still people in our community that don't like each other. There are people that don't want to support each other. There's this, that, the other. Like, it does not matter what community you belong to. There's bullshit. And sometimes some people get tired of the bullshit. If you've noticed, Trans Fellas is still up, the page on Instagram, but it is no longer active because I don't have the mental capacity, nor do I have the want as much anymore to be as open and as helpful as I have been in the past. I've also taken on the role of doing Pride in my hometown. I did it last summer. I'm doing it again this summer, and it's on a way bigger scale. And at this point in time, I have a few volunteers, but I'm doing it all by myself. And this is a common trend for things that I try to do. And you know what? That's fine. If other people don't want to get involved, then it just, honestly, people say it shows who I am, but it actually shows more of who they are. Because at the same time, when I'm planning these events, I'm trying to get um, people, programs, all these involved that are like local that should want to come out because they're being given an opportunity to come and share the information that they say is accessible to everybody. But I will definitely beg to differ, especially if you're a rural person. Not everybody who lives in the country can drive. Not everybody is old enough to drive. There are not buses that come out to the country to take us into the city. Not all of our parents know that we are of the community. Not all of our parents would be okay with taking us into the city, especially downtown, and just dropping us off outside of a building and coming back to get us. Like, there are things that, like, they could argue both ways. I actually had somebody ask if there was any transportation set up to bring people to Bimbrook Pride from in the city. And I'm being as nice as possible, but I honestly almost laughed because for the whole time that I've been out and trying to be part of the community, which is over like 15 years, I've been asking like, hey, is there any way that like something like that could be done up on the mountain so that it's a little bit closer? Is there any way that you could be more like forthcoming with some information so that people can share it? Can you like, oh, you guys do bus passes for people that come? Can you do parking like validation, or can you give like $2 for parking? Because like there are places to park, but a lot of the times there's an hour that you have to pay for, and then after that it's sometimes free, but it all depends on where you are. And if you own a vehicle, then you're not going to take the bus, but if one party is being given some sort of treatment, then the other party should as well. And just because I have a car doesn't mean that I have money either. It means that it's something that I allotted myself years back and am working on paying off. So the argument of like, well, you have a car, you could whatever, it doesn't work, okay? And what I had to say was, unfortunately, the city of Hamilton had promised many years ago that they were going to bring the HSR out to the center of Bimbrook so that rural people could go into the city and vice versa. That was when I was in high school that they started talking about that. I'm 35. So at this point in time, to me, it's one of those things where it's like a double-edged sword, or even just like, it can go both ways, but at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't want to put in the effort when somebody's giving you a clear, like, here, like, pretty much like right in your face telling you, like, here, you can, you know, whatever. And then maybe it'll make things easier. But, you know, this video is now turned into a rant. And that's how it is, because when you are going through such major things in your life and you already have other things going on, it's difficult. And when you go through all these surgeries, you're not as mobile, you're not as able to do things, you feel like crap, and the mental part is just really shitty. So, like, I don't even know what else I can tell you guys. Like I said, I'm not happy. I feel like I have a lot of reasons to be unhappy, and I know that there are going to be people who come at me and say, but you have a lot of reasons to be happy. Yes and no. I'm not a positive person, but I'm not a negative person. I am a glass half full kind of person, and depending on how the situation is going, I will see whether the glass is half empty or half full. I've been dealing a lot with my mental health issues, and not been very happy with not being able to share my feelings without being judged. I'm upset that if I do even try to share my feelings on my personal pages that are specifically for myself, my Instagram, that is my personal page, is private. So that means that I can say whatever I want, and if you don't like it, just scroll on. Because unless you have something productive to say, I don't want to hear about it. Especially from somebody who's not been through the same stuff. Like, I have so many things that I'm trying to accomplish.
I'm hungry now.
Okay, I'll make you dinner then, okay? Say hi. Okay, I'll be right there, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna have cheese and noodles with them.
Okay, well, I'll get them. You go figure out your sitting arrangement. Where do you want to sit? Come on, bud, can I finish this?
Okay.
Thank you. And I also have a toddler. So, at the end of the day, like, I don't even know how I want to end this video because I'm just so frustrated. Like, I want to cry, I want to scream, I want to curl up into a ball. Like, I just have all these things that I'm frustrated with. And I think it's because, like, everything in life has to be put on hold for COVID. Everything in life has to be put on hold for, like, transition stuff. And, like, while COVID is clearing up and other people are getting back to being what they're able to do, I can't even do the things that I would normally be able to do because of the restrictions from having surgeries. And on top of that, mental health makes you feel like crap, so you don't feel like you can do as much as you can or you should. And then it just piles up, and then you do try to do a few things that would make yourself feel better. I've been trying to get more involved in my indigenous side. I feel like I know a good amount, but I always doubt myself and feel like I actually don't know anything. Um, and then there's also just like an irritance with like trying so hard to get things done and not being able to find the access to the resources or not having the resources or whatever it may be, and then just watching other people get every single chance and every single speck of information, and it's like you've been spending your whole life trying to do something and you see somebody pop up and be like, oh well, da 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 da, and then it is, right? So like, I don't know, trans wise, indigenous wise, mental health wise, life wise, I am just beside myself. I am in a position where I'm not really happy. I'm in a position where I feel like things are difficult, and you know, some days I don't want to move on. And it sucks because, like you saw, I have a beautiful, beautiful son, and I have an amazing wife and an amazing family, but you always have to remember that you have no idea what somebody's experiencing in their personal life. So this is why I do these videos, honestly, because a lot of the times people run their mouths and come off and just say the worst things, or, you know, it's just take a second before you open your mouth. Like, I know that some of us have issues where, like, we don't filter well, but really, really take a moment, because when you start telling people, cat, get down. Sorry, I have cats too, and chickens. But, like, yeah, when you start acting like you can tell other people, like, how to do something or where to do it, or like rub in other people's faces that like you're doing something that you know that they've been trying to do for a long time, like, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. Like, can we like some understanding and some politeness, empathy, compassion, that kind of thing. I am really tired of seeing people having like just not cool attitudes. I'm just so tired of like the know-it-all attitudes I'm seeing, and it's like, oh, it's doing my head in. That's what I think. That's honestly one of the biggest things that's bothering me, is that like there's just all these people that want to say whatever they want to say, and they can be as rude as F to you, and they can treat you like crap, but you're the one that should get off the internet, or you're the one who shouldn't pay attention, or you should turn your comments off, or something stupid like that. And it's like, no, it's about being a polite person. It's about knowing how to read the room. It's about taking a second to think before you speak. It's about not hiding behind an excuse of something. I could list my mental health issues for days, but sometimes I'm just an asshole, okay? And it happens. And sometimes I'm lovely, okay? So, like, if you really want to take the time to comment on somebody's personal life and they're clearly struggling, then you need to take the time and make sure that your comment is going to be helpful and worth it. Because otherwise, you have no right to say anything to anybody and to act like you know better than somebody else whose life it is. No. We are all equal. We are all special. And we all deserve to be treated with kindness. And I am not one of those people who is going to say, I'm better because I'm trans. I'm better because I'm indigenous. I'm better because I'm two-spirit. Being two-spirit doesn't make me more special or better than anybody else either. I'm a person and we're all the same. We're all just trying to live our lives in the way that we are trying to do it. So instead of like making people feel like shit, how about either don't say anything or constructive? Be constructive. Because I honestly cannot take any more of people being so rude as to treat me like a moron or like some asshole or whatever you want to say. Like, stop. Just stop. Like, I really don't care. I'll delete your comment. I'll move on, whatever. But there was no need for it in the first place. So, like, a lot of my pent up upset is about having to go through these things that I'm going through and being judged. And a lot of it is from the inside of the community. And a lot of it's from people that I have, like, helped out. People that I have mentored. People that I have given the path to where they are now. Like, not in a, like, I'm amazing. I just helped people because I wanted to. And it sucks that being a person who's, like, helped so many people and continues to do so, like, why you gotta be like that? It's not cute. It ain't cute. So I guess to close this off, remember that like in the beginning of my video, I almost literally broke down. I literally almost stopped filming. And if you can't see that as what I'm going through and that it's important, that it's valid, that it matters, that it's upsetting, that some, any of those things, just don't be a negative son of a bitch and don't act like a know-it-all because you might be coming onto somebody's page who is not going to be as polite or not just remove your comment or something like that. You might go onto somebody's page that you really offend and hurt, and that could go many ways. And at the end of the day, there are consequences to how you treat people, and if it goes south in a bad way for either of you, just stop, please. Like, just stop. That's all I'm asking. Just stop. Like, I have my opinions, I have my feelings, I have what I'm experiencing and going through, and if you don't like what I have to say, that's fine. But you don't have to hate me, you don't have to block me just because I said one thing that you don't like. Like, we can agree to disagree, and we've all gone through different things, so, like, smarten up. Let's stop being children. I'm tired of, I'm tired. It's ridiculous. There's no point to it. And all you end up doing, maybe you feel good. If you feel good, I think you also, though, need to go get your head checked a little bit. Because if you feel good about making somebody feel bad, that's not okay. If you feel bad about making somebody feel bad, you are a human being. You understand somewhat how the world works and that you don't have to be like that. Okay? So, I honestly can't even end this because I don't know what my final thing to say to you guys is. Because, I've been going through so much and I've been trying to do the videos, but, I don't even have the energy to do the videos because I'm just so upset with how things are going and sad and with, certain people messaging or commenting or just watching other people be, not educated about what they're trying to say or sharing misinformation or taking advantage of the rest of the community. I'll say taking advantage because I don't want to say that fundraising for yourself, because that's fine, I don't mind. But when you are just literally milking people for money, that's what I'm talking about. Anyways, I have to let you go. My son would like some cheesy noodles, so we're gonna have some cheesy noodles for dinner. Talk to y'all later. Peace.